WCEA has new information for its members in regards to the new teacher evaluation system. As I had stated to all of you before, there has been much controversy over the student growth portion of the evaluation system. WCEA reported that we were misled into believing we had to include 10% MSA scores as well as a school performance index as a part of a teacher's evaluation. After much investigation, it is safe to say that the law clearly states that the only requirement is the use of multiple measures where no one measure can exceed 35% of the entire 50% student growth measure. Recently, WCEA presented the Board of Education with two new student growth model proposals for Wicomico County teachers. Proposal number 1 included 50% student learning objectives. The teacher uses multiple measures. No one measure can exceed 35%. This model would be a more accurate measure of a teacher's effectiveness through student growth as the teacher creates the learning goals as well as the method of assessing those goals. The teacher would have more control over the learning outcomes. Proposal number 2 was 5% SPI, or School Performance Index, and 45% student learning outcomes. This model would allow for a small percentage of the School Performance Index, which does not measure individual teacher effectiveness. This model comes with the agreement that a staff assessment of the school administration be a small portion of the principal's evaluation. When measures like SPI are used, the performance of others affects your evaluation. If teachers work under poor leadership, they will never have a fair opportunity to be highly effective in the new evaluation system. These proposals are based on the law, but conflict with what MSDA, or should I say the new state superintendent, Dr. Lillian Lowry, would like to happen. Since taking over her new position, Dr. Lowry wants all counties to revert to 20% MSA scores in every teacher's evaluation. 20%, that's a lot. This erases all of the hard work, time, and money that has been put into the creation of a local evaluation model. MSDE is changing the game as we move along with no regard to the time and effort counties across the state have put into this new evaluation system. Many superintendents across the state have written letters to Dr. Lowry contesting her request for 20%. Unfortunately, no letter arrived for Dr. Lowry from the Wicomico County Board of Education. I have already been told by the Board of Education side of the evaluation team that they would not support anything less than 20% MSA scores, even when our first model both sides developed together included 10% MSA scores. I am expecting a new student growth model proposal from our Board of Education that will reflect 20% MSA scores and 30% SLOs without a doubt. WCEA is following the law and believes that one of our student growth model proposals should be a part of the teacher evaluation system here in Wicomico County. We know that these testing scores come with too many factors out of our control that can affect how we are viewed as professionals. If the Board of Education does not budge from the 20%, we may have to default to the state model. The law clearly states that it is up to the county board and the WCEA to determine the components of the student growth measure, including whether or not to include a state assessment, and if so, what percentage to be applied. MSDE does not have the authority to dictate this matter. So the question is, will the Wicomico County Board of Education continue to work with us in the development of a fair evaluation model? If MSA scores are not required by the law, why push for it? What reason would the Board of Education have to want such an unfair measure placed on its teachers? What would it matter to us teachers which system we use if both require 20% of our evaluations to be based on standardized testing scores? In WCEA's view, it is now on the shoulders of the Board of Ed as to whether or not Wicomico County teachers deserve a fair model. This is where we are, and we have until December 27th to agree on a local model or default to the state model. I guess this is to be continued.